Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
Thank you for tuning in today. You are now listening to That Will Never Work podcast with your host, Maurice Chisholm. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, we have something interesting to speak about today, and I hope that this encourages you to increase your circle and putting people in place that means something to you. So I'll get to what I mean in a moment. Earlier this week, I saw a post on Instagram, and it mentions being carried by 6 to 8 people in a coffin. While you're laying in a coffin, you've passed away, you're laying in a coffin, and you're being carried by 6 to 8 people, being lifted up. And before I was able to read the rest of it, which I will get to the ending of this particular post, it resonated in my mind of how I feel at this present time in this world. I just feel like that there's a lot of things that's going on that is really destroying my the way I feel is I feel like the walls are closing in just by not people talking about voting and all of the various movements that's going on, from Black Lives Matter to Blue Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, and the LGBTQ community and just their movements. And trying to worry about what's going on with my children in school and them going back to school in a classroom setting. And will they eventually become one of those statistics that where the kids are being jam-packed into a certain place? And, just all these concerns, it wears you down. And unfortunately, it's been wearing me down to the point of where the businesses and my ideas and creativity has been really worn out and worn down. And I have not been able to really stay in the place that I need to be creative, to be innovative, and to motivate others. And I've tried to look at things from a very positive place, and sometimes it's been very, very hard. And being an entrepreneur, being someone who is on a solo tip, sometimes it's hard to motivate yourself and stay in that place of being motivated, when you don't have the money coming in that you think that you should because of everything that's going on. And when you look at the stock market and look at, investments or just, people's spending habits have changed, and you're not sure how to maneuver within this pandemic, this epidemic, whatever word you would like to use. Sometimes it's not that easy to stay in a place that is positive. So, of course, as I've read this, it took me a while to get out of where I was mentally, out of my own head, to read the rest of this passage, to read the rest of this post, because I've paid attention to my own personal situations. I've paid attention to the deaths, the illnesses, the family struggles, how the goals that I've made for myself for 2020 is October already, and I cannot see a light at the end of the tunnel. It just feels like it's just so dark and dim. And my little vision board that I had at the beginning of the year, well, actually I had written it down in December, my little whiteboard. And as I was reading this, I was able to see the whiteboard out of the corner of my eye, and I realized that I had erased everything on my board. My board is a clean slate right now as we speak because I erased everything 2 weeks ago. And I actually have about a good 4 or 5 of these boards, various sizes, but my large one where it had a lot of my real goals, my goals that I have for not just 2020, but 2021 and 2022. And how does the business, how does things change moving forward while fitting everything else in? So something said, Maurice, that's, in reality, a lot of us only read half of the stuff that we see. We don't always read the whole passage on social media. We kind of, as it's, you see a lot of memes where it says, hey, post this if you've read the whole meme and things like that, because sometimes we just scroll through without reading the whole piece. So something said, Maurice, read the whole thing. Finish it out. Finish. That's been my major thing recently of not just starting something, but to actually finish it, complete it. Make sure that I feel accomplished at least in something. And I know that reading this, post on social media is not a true accomplishment, but at least I'm just trying to think of every little piece. Maurice, finish, finish, finish. So in this piece, it talks about this being carried while you're in your coffin by 6 to 8 people. What happens if you surrounded yourself around with 6 to 8 people that uplifted you while you were alive, that encouraged you, that supported you, that you were able to bounce ideas off of, both good and bad? Overall, the post just said, get 6 to 8 people that's going to uplift you while you're alive. And so all those other pieces I thought of were a part of that last piece of that post. And I thought that was very interesting. I think that kind of leads to where I'm going at for today. I think that we need to be a little more positive in our thinking. I think we need to be a little more creative in our thinking. I think we need to start to put ourselves in places again that's going to uplift our spirits, that's going to motivate us, people that's going to question us, people that are going to push us and pull us one way or the other. That's one of the things that we're missing today, that we're so bogged down with news and the lack of jobs and the lack of opportunities and things like that, that sometimes we need to put ourselves in a position where we are around those that can do that and help us to get to that point. I believe that all of us have that 6 to 8 people that can uplift us and pull us. The question is, do you trust them enough? Do you believe in them? Will it be reciprocal? I understand there's other questions that goes along with that of finding that 6 to 8 people, but do you have your crew that's going to be a part of that? So I'm saying that to say that very, very soon you'll see, for those of you that are ready to make a difference, that is ready to take things to another level, that I am looking for a good 6 to 8 people that we're going to create a team, and we're going to be, I'm going to create a name for us. And you'll see that very, very soon about who we are, what our mission is going to be, and how we're going to change everything. Keep in mind that I'm going to stick to my basic idea of business, which is educate, empower, enable, and impact. Educate, meaning we're going to educate ourselves. We're going to educate you. We're going to educate each other, which is going to empower us because we have that education. We're going to feel like we can conquer anything, which is enabling us to have that. And from being empowered, we're going to be enabled to make that change. We're going to become the change makers, meaning we're going to be those impact makers. We're going to make an impact on everyone we come across, and anything that we touch. We're going to make an impact on whatever it is. So we're going to educate, empower, enable, and impact any and everything that comes across our tables, comes across our laps, that falls in our hands, that we get our eyes on. We're going to make a difference. So I encourage you today to get that 6 to 8 people that's going to help you be that change maker. Get that 6 to 8 people that's going to uplift you, along at the same time, make those 6 to 8 people accountable for each other to become more of a team. Because ultimately, we work better as a team. I think that's part of our issue of not being able to go out and see people, and people are pressing their limits because, we as human beings, we're more of a touchy-feely group of people overall. So with that being said, encourage each other, find that 6 to 8 people, educate, empower, enable, and impact. I thank y'all very much for listening. I know this is a short one today, but continue to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Chisholm Group. Also, understand that we do have That Will Never Work podcast t-shirts on Amazon, and be sure to buy them on Prime Day, October 13th and 14th. Make sure you get your t-shirt. All right, y'all. Thank y'all very much for listening, and have a great week.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.